Hello, hello. So today we're going to be going through some AZ-104 practice questions, and we'll just kind of see how they go. I need to get my light. Give me like 1 second. Here we go. It's a little less dark now. I probably won't stream for super long today, just because I don't know. I don't know if I want to or how long I want to study, but I'll kind of just go until I get tired of it here. What's up, Justin? All right. Here. Sorry, I'm still getting signed in. Once I like start the quiz, I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can go through these brutal practice questions together, because this exam is kind of insane. I started studying for it before doing like any reading. Where is it? Oh my gosh. There it is. Before doing any reading, right? And so I'm getting close to the end of my studies, and I finally was like, oh, I should go like see what people say about this exam on Reddit. And evidently it's a mile wide and a mile deep. So there's going to be a lot of practice questions that need to happen before I schedule this exam. But I think I'm getting close. They haven't gone horribly so far. Like, I did fail one pretty bad with like a 65, I think. But I've also done like two others that I got either like 70s, like 70s and above. I did a Udemy based practice test the other day and actually got I think an 80. So that was pretty cool. I was very excited about that. Anyone in chat studying for any certifications at the moment? I need to make more like actual videos too. I've been really bad. I haven't uploaded like a video in like 3 months, dude. Why is that not working? There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll save that. And let's see. Is knowing the basics of Python and Bash scripting enough in regards of programming to get into the cloud engineering space? Yeah, I would say so. So, more coffee. When I started as an engineer, I didn't have really any experience in almost anything. I had a pretty impressive AWS lab that I like brought to the interview, and they really liked that. And I think it just showed enough willingness to learn where they hired me. But anyway, back to the question you were asking. Even now, I don't really do Bash or Python almost ever. I do a lot of PowerShell, but as for the other ones, I don't really touch them much. I did just write my first automation script that was big enough to merit a code review, so that was kind of cool. Learned how to do source control on it, and it's lives in its own, not its own repository, but lives in a repository. Got my own branch going. So I'm trying to get a little bit closer to the dev space. I don't think I'm ever going to shoot for like being a full-blown software developer, but I do think it's definitely useful and a little bit fun to understand how applications work and especially how to automate things. And it certainly won't hurt me. All right, we got 2 in the chat. Wow. I have to say, I like live streaming some of my studies. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna like live stream like taking notes or something. But I do like live streaming some of my studies just because I feel like it keeps me from getting distracted. Because even if there's only 2 people watching me, there's 2 people that can watch me slack off when I should be doing my practice tests. I have to remember which one I'm on. It's on set 2. Which one was I doing? Time mode 3. I don't know which certifications would you guys like to see me go for? After the AZ-104, I definitely have to do. I don't have to, but I'm going to do the AWS Solutions Architect Professional. The reason behind that is when does it expire? So my Solutions Architect Associate expires in 2026. It is late 2026, so I have time. But your certs get renewed from Amazon, either A, if you just retake the test, which I don't really want to retake a test for something I'm already certified in, or you can go up a notch from the associate level exam to the professional level exam, and it will renew all certifications below it. So my thought is like, I'll just go ahead and do the professional. I know that's going to be an absolutely insane exam. Let's see. Yeah, we'll do this. So like I want to give myself time to study for it just because, again, it's known to be kind of insane. And if it takes me 18 months to study, you know what? It takes me 18 months to study. I've never been the type to really rush certifications at all. Like for me, it's yes, of course, like getting the certification feels good. So we definitely want to do that. But a big part of it is, did I get something out of it? I don't expect myself to remember everything, but I do expect myself to walk away from the certification with some amount of knowledge on the subject, And I feel like just going straight for passing the test doesn't do that, as well as taking your time. All right. So I'm going to put this on one of my socials. All right, and then I'll share my screen here in a second. I haven't really started, so I haven't, but let's see. All right. All right, so I'll go ahead and share now. We can start this. Yeah, we'll share this one. All right. I don't have a good way to do that. That's fine. It's like I have this stream on my laptop, and my laptop is kind of in the way of my other monitor. All right. Manage a logistics company that uses Azure Files, stores critical data, Entra ID, more secure access file shares. All right, so we're accessing storage. Hybrid users. File shares. No line of sight. My initial thought is this one. This is going to be one I have to read the explanation on for sure. Over the internet makes me lean towards OAuth. Because Kerberos is used mostly for on-prem stuff. We're just using Azure files, so I'm pretty sure we want to keep everything kind of centralized to Entra. I don't know enough about that to confidently say anything. You are allowed to use Microsoft Learn. On the test. Training, there it is. All right. Product documentation. I'm not going to go way into this over one question, but I do want to see if this has anything. And I feel like this is I've done this on a couple questions where you basically just take kind of the answer and you put it into Microsoft Learn and you see what it spits back at you. Entra Kerberos. Okay. Okay. Entra ID. On-premise. Okay. So this allows hybrid users. So hybrid users, I think it's this one. Let's see. What? I didn't check it. Oh, I'm on a timed one. I don't want to do a timed one. I'm sorry. We're switching gears. I am curious if I got that right, but I was in the middle of one this week. I think it was this one. Yeah, we're just going to resume this one because I don't really want to be on a timer because I'm also talking to y'all. All right. You have an Azure subscription that contains a VM, TD1, following configurations, virtual network, public address, private address, Southeast Asia, DNS zones. Oh, I got this one wrong, yeah. What's up, Tim? Tim, you've been on the channel for a while. I at least remember you would drop into live streams when I would do my CKS labs. All right, we're just going to go next. Okay, so you can't use public zones. So it's public zones and regions, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, because that one's cross-region. Okay, so I think the big thing here is you can't use public zones. You don't have the capability to use network links and the auto registration feature. Okay. What are your next plans? Yeah, a long time ago. Cranking away on the AZ-104 right now. Getting pretty close. I should have a video with updates once I schedule it. And we'll kind of go from there. And then after that, we're probably going to do the Solutions Architect Professional. All right. Your company has a subscription that contains virtual networks. You peer them, connected, identify if packets can be routed. What should you identify? Okay, so how are things peered? VNet 1 can talk to VNet 2 and VNet 3, and 3 packets can be routed to, well, I can't see the bottom of my screen. They can go to VNet 1, yeah? Good. Big plans, good luck. I believe you make it. Thank you. We hope so. All right, we have a subscription, storage account, 14 terabytes of files. You need to migrate to it using import export. So this is the one where like you ship stuff. You need to identify the 2 files to prep the journal file. Oh, I remember this. Data set, drive set. I think. I don't think this one helps you prep the drives. I think it's just data set, drive set. Oh, we're gonna port export service. File. Inside region and availability. Tutorials. Import into Azure Files. Prepare the drives. Okay, so drive set, yes. What was the other option? Drive set and data set. Data set. So we do have drive sets and data sets. Let's see. Hey, look at that. All right. Subscription with the following resources: recovery service vaults, VM storage account, Azure SQL. You create a file share in a blob container. What resources can you back up using these vaults? So it has to be same region. And TD Backup 2 can't do SQL databases. I know that. So TD1 only, I think. No, because we have TD account 1. TD account 1 is in Southeast Asia. And you can't do TD SQL 1 because it's Azure SQL, which recovery service vaults don't cover. Which I got this question wrong like last week. And I remember that. All right, so blob, yes. Share, yes. TD1, that's in a different region. I don't know. It's definitely not this. TD share 1 only. Can you back up virtual machines? I'm totally gonna get this one wrong. TD backup 1, Southeast Asia. Can you not back up blob containers? Let's see. Scenario, different regions. Yeah. So I was right on the regions. Can back up Azure file share. You can use it to hold backup data. But I guess it can't perform the backups. All right. I might stop reading the questions entirely. I might talk to him a little bit now. Packet capture. So network performance issues, we're doing packet captures. Okay, so to do that, we need the network watcher extension on the VM that's having the packet capture performed on it. Good. All right, so we have 3 VMs all in the same region. TD backup 1 without a backup agent. Operating systems. I don't know which ones are compatible. I'm going to say all of them on files. Oh, to mess them. Are you working actually more on cloud infrastructure, more platforms, DevOps? It's a little bit of everything, which is interesting. I work at a small enough company where, so like I'm cloud operations, so any infrastructure that supports our app is something that kind of falls on my team's plate. So all sorts of stuff. Like I've been in our Kubernetes clusters. I've done obviously stuff in Azure. I've done stuff in AWS. A little bit of Entra configuration. Lots of like on-prem storage stuff. Lots of like scripting and automation, which recently has been my favorite. Like I've written some PowerShell scripts that I'll be honest, I'm impressed with myself that I kind of pulled them off. So I don't. This one's gonna be in the dark because 2012. I don't know if that can be. If you can restore Windows Server 2012 onto 2016 or 2019. File recovery, I really don't think depends on it. I bet I get this wrong. Okay. So are they all specific? not compatible. Okay, so I guess they have to be the same. When recovering files, we can't restore files from to a previous or future operating system. Okay, so same with, yeah, all right. The weird thing about the 104 is it requires like a little bit of other Windows knowledge, which I don't know. It's like I don't have enough work experience to know these little like Windows things. Like this job actually was the first time I've done anything with Windows Server. So I don't know. The AZ-104 is one of those where I feel like if you have like no experience, it's going to be a really, really hard exam. Like similar to me, like I have a little bit of experience, but not a ton for sure. All right. We have a sync group with a cloud endpoint, and the file is in the cloud endpoint. On-prem 2019 server that you want to sync. Okay. Registered file server 1, the on-prem one, as a server endpoint to our sync group, then registered our second on-prem file server as a server endpoint to the sync group as well. All right, so this and the cloud endpoint will be overwritten. No. I'll explain my answers in a second here. And no. Will be synced to file server 1. File server 2. File server 1's our other server endpoint. So I'm going to say no on all of these because this one is the one I'm most hazy on. The reason I'm hazy on it is this on-prem server, file server 1, doesn't contain the file already, right? And it's part of a sync group to our cloud endpoint. And our cloud endpoint also has a second file server as another server endpoint. So cloud endpoint is talking to file server 1 and file server 2. They're just syncing to this cloud endpoint. They're not syncing to each other, right? So I don't think there's a reason why the MP4 file would end up on file server 1. And then these, so when you have, part of the reason I'm talking through these two is it's going to help me remember these little like bits and pieces. I found talking through something is the best way to learn it. So that's another reason like I like doing these live streams too. Oh, but anyway, files aren't overwritten. They're whatever the newest version is gets like the main file name, and then if there was already a version there, it gets a like a number appended to the end of it to say, hey, this isn't the latest version. This is X versions back. And so both of these are going to be no because it doesn't overwrite things. Ah, I was wrong. Why? Override files. Yeah, so that's fine. Make changes, server endpoint. Right. I don't. Why? That doesn't make sense to me. Well, we'll flag it for review. That's weird. I don't really understand that. I'm going to have to go back on that. All right, your company has a subscription, line of business application, several VMs, scale set named TD set 1. Cool. On-prem network that has site-to-site VPN to your Azure environment. Okay. So we're load balancing to scale set from the on-prem network. So because you already have a site-to-site VPN, you don't need anything to be public because your on-prem network, which is going to be private, can talk to your line of business application that group of servers that's going to be in a private subnet. Those networks can talk to each other because there's a VPN in between them. So when you have that VPN in place, if you're going from one address space to another address space, you don't need to go over the public internet. So you don't need a public endpoint. So we don't really need gateway. We don't need front door. Actually, gateway, I don't know if it's considering this, but you can have a private gateway now. Traffic manager is not related. Definitely not. Front door is not related. So I'm going to say internal. Either one of these should be fine. All right. You purchased a license. You plan to add a local admin. Choose adding a user. No. So this is the only one that's related, I think, because it's based on these answers, it's not asking about what role you're assigning the user. There's something else going on. So I bet it's device settings. Cloud-based. Oh, okay. Okay, so you can add local admins for join devices through device settings. Gotcha. Yeah, we still got one person here. Kind of surprised. My live streams are like ultra super boring because I'm just sitting here studying. But again, it keeps me from getting distracted. And it makes me talk through my answers a little bit more, which helps me A, answer the question better, and B, understand why I'm answering a question a certain way. All right, you deployed a VM. You created an ARM template. Ooh, operating system is going to be in the ARM template. That's going to be in the ARM template. That's going to be in the ARM template. That's not. The reason it's not, so like your ARM template is scoped to your resource. So this template is like defining this like virtual machine, right? This virtual machine lives in a resource group, and your template's only defining the virtual machine. So if you wanted to take this virtual machine and put it in this resource group over here, I'm sorry, my hand gestures are probably not helpful, but if you wanted to move it over here, there's nothing stopping you from taking the template for just this piece and putting it in this box versus this box. I hope that made sense. What? It's going to happen. One of these times I'm going to explain my answer before I check it, and I'm totally going to get it wrong. I'm just going to have a wild explanation for a wrong answer. But that's all right. it'll help me understand why it was wrong better. All right, we have a resource group with some resources, backups, backups in the service vault, delete after 30 days. Oh, okay. So we want to delete the resource group. Virtual machines, you can just nuke those. Disks, you can nuke those. Storage accounts, I think if there's backups in the storage account, you can still delete it. But I do know for recovery services vaults, you have to remove them. I think. Do you have to stop backups before it? Because I know you have to delete. You can't have backup data in your RSV when you go to delete it. But I don't know if you have to stop the backups. We're going to see. You cannot dependency. Oh, okay. So you can't delete if it contains data sources. Yeah, so you can't do it if it has backup data. Sorry, I was reading. So I guess your VM, if you're still backing up to it, counts as a data source. And by stopping backups, you're not defining it as a data source. So what that sounds like. All right. Log analytics, table named event logs. Search and event logs error. So no. This is the only one that really has any completeness to it, from what I can see. All right. ARM template to create a virtual machine scale set that launches 5 Linux servers. Make sure the Nginx is installed. Custom script extension. This is unrelated. This is unrelated. This is kind of related, but not really. It's not. It doesn't go down to the OS level, but custom script extension lets you like run your scripts on a virtual machine. I don't remember if it's at startup or if it's just in general. I think it's just in general, but I know you can use it to install stuff, so. All right, you created a web app using app service. Several users are complaining that they received 500 errors. You must grant the developers access to the application in order to view errors. Web server, maybe? This wouldn't do anything. This wouldn't do anything. I think because it's HTTP. Because if it's over the web, you'd want to know what the... I think it's application. Because I think web server logging is like, I don't know, if your server runs out of memory, then you can go there. Oh, I was wrong. Let's see. Oh, I had it wrong, so. Okay. All right, so 500 was internal server. I should have remembered that from all my Kubernetes labs, but I did not. All right, fair enough. You deployed 10 web servers that are running Windows Server, behind a load balancer, virtual machines. Host a stateless web application. You need to ensure that successive requests, so affinity for client IP address and protocol. So not floating IP, not idle timeout. That's not complete. That. Good. All right, what's this one? Feel free to ask any questions you might have too. I am keeping an eye on chat. And I like interacting with y'all, so. You deployed a legacy application in a single Azure VM due to its tightly coupled dependencies. The application cannot be hosted on multiple VMs. At the end of each month, the CPU reaches a peak. Processes month-end data. So we have like one spike at the end of the month. Schedule a runbook to improve the CPU performance. Not scale sets. Not desired state. This wouldn't actually solve the issue. I don't know exactly what that extension does. But see, this one's kind of tricky because we need to schedule a runbook to improve the vCPU performance. So this is just giving it more. But this isn't doing anything. This is just getting diagnostics. I don't know. I'm curious why this was wrong. Okay. I don't know though, because I don't know if I like this question, because we're not really improving vCPU performance. We're just giving it more CPU, you know? Like we're not really optimizing anything. We're making it bigger. That's all right. You are managing a business critical application hosted in a VM. It is associated with your subscription. The virtual machine has a managed disk and a network interface. You are planning to make the following changes. Okay, so let's read the question first. Which of the following changes would cause downtime? It looks like we have all these. So, create and attach a new disk. Okay, so you have an application. So that's going to be accessed by people. Size, definitely. Detached network interface, yes. Assuming it only has one, and it's not like behind, even if it's behind a load balancer, it would still break it, I'm pretty sure. Extension wouldn't. Resource group, I don't think it would. Won't cause downtime. Cool. Y'all, I turned 21 in less than a month. Crazy. All right. Up next, a company plans to deploy a VM with these parameters to prevent downtime. You need to make sure the instance can be moved in different availability zones using site recovery. Region, I think, is fine. OS disk type, I think, is fine. Manage disks, I think. Ultra disks are just performance. OS disk type, I don't think that would have an effect. In region, I don't think would have an effect. All right. So if you have managed disks, you can move between AZs using site recovery. Nice. All right, so we have a subscription and some resources. Another admin made several VMs and storage accounts using an ARM template. You need to find the template that was used to deploy the new resources. That's going to be in deployments under the resource group. So RG1. Yes. All right, new Azure subscription. You plan to move between subscriptions. I think you can just move all of them. Pretty sure. Nice. All right, because that doesn't depend on regions or anything. So you can just move them. Oh, I'm yawning a lot today. That's right, we're almost done. We got like 20 more questions. No, less than 20, like 15. No, do I know how to count? I have more than 20. Right? Yeah. Okay. You deployed a System Center Service Manager on your computer and a VM and your Azure subscription. Plan to create an alert for the Service Manager. Notify. This is a weird one. I had to read a lot on this to understand this question. Evidently, the Service Manager you can like connect it to your like IT monitoring services, from what I understand. But you need to install a connector on the machines. No, you have to make a connector and connect it to the manager installed on the machines. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not good with this service. I probably should read much more about it, but I did not. But that's all right. I just know if I see service connector, you need or the service manager, you need a service connector to get it working. All right, you are managing an Entra ID tenant and a 365 tenant. We are granting access to a SharePoint document library. So auto deleted after 180 days. So because it's SharePoint, you wouldn't really do it through Entra. You'd have to do it through 365 groups because it's a Microsoft application. Like if we were giving access to, I don't know, a virtual machine, we would do security groups, but we're not. So all right, your company has several client computers at the office headquarters. 2 years ago, you migrated on-prem directory to Entra ID. To meet the compliance requirement, personal and corporate devices must be registered. Received a report that the user could not register her device upon checking. Was able to register in the past. You also verified that other users were able to join last month. So it's just her. Groups shouldn't matter because she was able to do it. Leaning towards this one. Custom domain name wouldn't matter. New role, I don't think matters. Resolve. Yeah, so nothing changed with roles in this question. That's what's tricky though. It's like if you make the wrong assumption about a question, about like what it's asking, you could kind of shoot yourself in the foot because on that one, I could have assumed like, oh, well, something like the ops team or the IT team must have made a change to this user, and if the question specified that, the answer could be very different, but the question didn't specify it, so that was not the case. You're managing a subscription with a whole bunch of resources in it. You plan to configure proximity placement for this scale set. Which placements can you use? So VMS is on Australia East. Australia East. I'm going to go with 3. Resource group doesn't matter. I'm going to go with 3 because it's in the same region. Yeah. I don't really know much of anything about proximity placement groups, but after doing enough practice questions and reading enough Azure docs, generally, if it's asking you to eliminate something, a solid guess is whatever resource is in the same region is the right answer. And it's judging off location because the word proximity tells me it's dealing with location. And I'm going to say it has to be in the same region. Oh. Whew. Yeah, we're good. All right, cool. Yeah, same region, looks like. Located, yeah, so it has to be in the same region, looks like. We have a subscription with some resources. You're instructed to monitor the storage count and configure an SMS notification for some stuff. How many alert rules and action groups should you create? So, oh man, action groups, we need 3. Alert rules. This is a metric. This is a metric. Activity log, activity log. I'm going to go with 4 because all of these are different. And I think you would need a different rule for each thing you're tracking. Nice. All right, Azure subscription that has a Entra tenant named Tutorials Dojo. This tenant has some users. You created a security group in that tenant. And that tenant also has some devices. All right, so user admin won't allow you to mess with devices. So no immediately for user 1. Oh, owners though. Because if you own the security group, you can mess with it regardless. But that doesn't change the fact that you shouldn't be able to mess with the device. All right, so this person does have access to devices. And they want to add a device to security group 1. Owner. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to say he can. I might get this one wrong. Oh, jeez. All right, take note. Cloud device can only manage by an Entra. Is the owner of... Okay. So if they were the owner, or if they had permissions to the group, they'd be fine. But they didn't have permissions to the group. Is a dynamic group automatic? Oh, user 1. Didn't I say he can't? User 1, device 2, security group 1. We're gonna move on from that one. I might have to brush up on exactly how that works. All right. Oh, we have a case study. Nice. These can either be really good or really bad during an exam. Because if you understand the case study and the things the case study is asking about, you're in a really good spot. If you're not, or if you don't understand it, or you get a really bad case study, you're in for a rough time. Which, on a previous practice test, there was one case study that I didn't really understand, and it killed my score. All right. You deployed a server. You received an email notification. So, planned maintenance. You need to migrate the VM to a new host. No, moving it to a new resource group doesn't change the host. All right, I might have to take a pause here. I've never seen this website. It's a fun one. I'm trying a be right back message. Bird. Where'd my live stream go? There it is. So you can see. Be right back. Oh. Be right back. All right, I'll be back in just a moment. We're back. I don't think anyone joined, so I really didn't need to be right back time, but that's all right. Back to it. All right, so back to the whatchamacallit, case study. So our goal is to migrate it to a new host. Redeploy the virtual machine. That is exactly what you have to do. Good. The solution is move it to a subscription, which also doesn't do what you want it to. Oh, this is a long one. All right. Oh, this is a case study too. Your company has a subscription that contains a virtual network with a subnet and a VM with a public IP address and is configured to allow RDP. I'm assuming that's over the public address. TD sub 1 is the subnet of TD1. Okay. You create two network security groups attached to the network interface of our virtual machine and of the subnet attached. What? Attached to network interface. And I don't know why I'm struggling to read this. Two network security groups named this attached to network interface and okay, so this one is attached to the network interface and this one is attached to the subnet. I don't know why that was so hard for me. This network security group uses default inbound security rules, while the one attached to the network interface has the default security rules with a custom rule, which is RDP, pretty high priority, so that's going to overwrite defaults. Source any, source port any, destination any. That's the wrong protocol. So RDP is not going to be let through the security group on the VM. You ensure that you can connect. All right, you add an inbound. See, this isn't going to matter because this is great and all. It's not going to make it to, it will make it through the subnet because this overwrites the defaults in the subnet, right? But it's going to hit that network interface and it's going to get blocked because, yes, the port's correct. Destination and source port are wildcards, has the priority, but the protocol is not going to match. So we're going to say no. And we were correct. All right, so same thing. We need to ensure, okay. So this one, this is the one on the network interface. So RDP, top priority pretty much. Source, any, source port range, any, destination 3389, protocol TCP. This looks good. I think this lets RDP through. Does the protocol need to be set to RDP? I don't remember. Oh, I think TCP is fine. I think. All right, anyway, we add 200 source service tag. That's weird. Source port range VM, destination any, destination port range. You disassociate the security group from the network interface of the VM. So this doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to say no. Because if you're coming in from the internet, your traffic's not, the source isn't going to be a virtual network, right? Yeah, that was, dude, there were so many things that were wrong. That was a weird one. All right. So same thing. We add an inbound security rule to the, okay, so we add this to both of them. Lower priority than this rule, so we'll check this one first. UDP, that's not, RDP does not use UDP. Anyone in chat? Got a couple people. No, I don't think this is gonna matter. I don't know though. Well, because UDP just sends the traffic, right? And TCP sends and receives. So, oh, what's up, Isaac? Dang, we got 3 people. Some crazy numbers right there. Pressure's on. I think this is, I don't think it meets the goal, but let's see. See, this is right. But the issue is, okay, so it's going to hit the VM network security group is fine. Like this works great. This has it's going to hit this first. And I think it's going to be blocked because of the protocol. Am I insane? Let me see if Microsoft Learn has it. Because I'm like 99% sure your RDP sessions have to use TCP. UDP remote desktop. I don't know. RDP short path, virtual desktop. Let's do RDP network security group. Because again, yes, see TCP right here. Oh, battery life. That's not good. This thing I use like a. So my personal laptop is a Legion. This thing's huge, dude, and it needs so much power. So back to questions. I'm gonna say no. I don't know. It's like the new thing we added is fine, but it's gonna get overwritten. Are my fans being loud? Okay. Can I like turn my fans lower? There's a shortcut to make my fans turn off, but they are not. I think it's Lenovo Vantage that does it, maybe. I've never opened Lenovo Vantage, so I have that open in another window. Dude, I just need my fans to turn off. All right. I don't know, chat. Let me know if my fans are being obnoxious. Okay, so I guess you can add rules, and if it matches any rules. To the one person watching this, are my fans from my laptop loud? Because it sounds like a jet's taking off. For me, but I don't know if my mic is picking that up. All right. Your company has a subscription to Azure that has multiple virtual machines. You've been tasked to manage all computing resources. Find the unattached disks. Yeah, Advisor does that for you. Not really. Okay. Thank you, Isaac. Oh, that's it. CCNP. That's a good one. I don't know, cause I think you're right. As in so I don't know how long you've been around the channel, but my role, I'm a cloud ops engineer. So yes, I do some networking. We are not a Cisco shop. If you asked me to configure a Cisco switch right now, I probably couldn't do it without lots of Googling. So it's not on the priority list for that reason. Because again, it's you were spot on with it's not as applicable to my role as some of these vendor specific cloud certs. But maybe down the line, I might, because I really do like going for these certifications. I think it's kind of fun in a kind of weird way, but maybe way down the line if I'm I really just don't know what cert to go for, because CCNP is a hard exam, and I think starting that journey and getting through it would be really fun. But at this point in my career, is it going to be beneficial to spend 8 months on more networking stuff, or do I kind of follow my career track with public cloud, Charge off. All right, I turned on battery conservation, so hopefully that kind of calms things down a little bit with my fans. But to answer your question, maybe down the line, but it's not on the top of the list. All right, up next, we have an application hosted in a VM named TD Samar. You configured monitor to collect events. You plan to create an alert rule to notify a sysadmin whenever an error is logged in the system of the VM. Which of the following should you monitor in the alert rule? I Azure Monitor will send logs to the Log Analytics workspace. And I think you can just have your alert rule point to the Log Analytics workspace and be alerted off of that. Yes. Yeah, look at that. All right. We're getting close to the end. I'm kind of excited to see how I do on this because this is the best I've done in a practice exam so far, which is super exciting. I'm sure you guys know when you're going for a certification, at least like this is how it is for me. I spend so much time studying, and then I get to that first practice exam, and I get like a 65 on it, a 70 maybe, like for these harder ones. And it's like, wow, there's a lot of little things I didn't know. But the nice thing is because I spent all that time studying, it's just the little things. Like, I don't have to go and read 40 pages on virtual machines if I get a question wrong, because most of the time when I get a question wrong, it's because I didn't know a detail of a larger umbrella topic, not because I didn't understand that umbrella topic as a whole. So just by going through these and learning some of those random little bits and pieces that you'll be tested on, I feel like my score increases very quickly after I start. Oh, do I have a date planned for the exam? Not yet. I'm getting really close to scheduling it. I don't know. Everything I read online scares me about this exam. People just talking about how absolutely insane it is. So I'm thinking maybe 6 weeks out. I know that's like so much overkill, but I would rather wait and just keep grinding away on practice tests and labs and whatnot than try to rush it and fail it and then feel like I'm like so far behind, like I have to like redo all of my studying, you know? But we'll see what we do on this practice exam. If I get a 90, I don't think I'll get a 90. No, okay. What should I set the bar at? If I get X score, should I schedule the exam on stream? Maybe. Maybe if I get like an 87. I still don't feel ready at all. I get an 85 on this. I'll schedule it for 6 weeks out. Like today, I'll schedule it. If I get an 85 on this, I don't think I will. I don't remember how many questions I got wrong. I don't think I'm gonna get an 85, but we'll see. I know I'm close. I've done really well on this exam so far. I really don't think I've gotten that many wrong. All right, you are configuring Azure policy for an organization. You need to ensure that one can create custom policy definitions in the subscription. Pedro can apply policy assignments to the resource group. Principal least privilege. All right. Oh, dude, this is a broken question. This is so frustrating. Do you see what's wrong here? These questions don't show. So like if I do, I wonder, more tools. Developer tools. Because you see there's answers missing here. And there's like nothing I can do about it, you know? Like I don't see the full answers, so I have to guess. So if I do, what can I do? Select. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we have option. Oh, geez. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Where's my. There's a way to highlight it. Oh, it's this, but I have to have the drop down active. This is irritating. Okay, whatever. All right, so Juan needs custom policy definitions for the subscription. See, one of these is automation contributor for the subscription. Or is it data writer? I don't know if we do data writer. Data writer. This is so frustrating, dude. I just want to see if I can tell which one I have selected, you know. We have automation contributor for resource group. Is that right? Oh my gosh, dude. I can't with this. Like, do you guys see the issue here, right? Okay. We have to answer one. I can't see what I'm answering. Sure. I'm giving myself one of these points because read. Okay, so this, I'm giving myself 1 point on this. I could not see any of the answers here. I call shenanigans. All right, you created a new Entra ID user. Let's see. Global admin we don't need. Contributor. Or maybe it is global admin. Let's see. Yeah. Dude, my fans are kind of irritating me right now. They're so loud. Then again, it is sitting on a flat desk. I'm just gonna try to like prop this up with something. Use this. Just like elevate my laptop so it stops overheating. All right. 10 more questions. Coming to the end. I said if I get an 85 on this exam, I'll schedule the actual exam. for, I think I said 6 weeks out. Maybe 5 weeks. All right. And then we have a question that's broken, so I'm giving myself a point for that. Manufacturing firm archiving blueprints for an on-prem server to blob storage. You intend to use AZ copy to streamline bulk transfer. However, the company's security team forbids SAS tokens. Entra ID, you can do that with. Hey, my fans finally stopped being obnoxious. All right, that's my laptop fans. I don't know if y'all could hear them. All right, you are an administrator managing your organization's Azure environment. One of your responsibilities includes monitoring, managing Azure functions. Used extensively, users have reported delays in event processing. High number of unprocessed events. I'm going to do a quick search on Learn here. Processed events, Azure functions. Not out of order. Backlogs. Backlogged seems. Yeah. That's the only one that makes sense. Watermark delay doesn't make sense. Late input doesn't make sense. Check that. Nice. Task for setting up an automated deployment pipeline in Azure DevOps for a web application. Resource group. Deploy an app. Web app. My app. Bicep file. You should modify this file to enable automated deployment of my app to this resource group. Scope. Because this bicep file, I don't know, my analogy from like an hour ago, I think I'm like 90% sure it's scope. Because location is region, SKU doesn't matter, and tags don't matter. All right, you have a subscription with some resources, network security group associated with 1 and 3. Added a network security group that allows security rule, prevents them receiving traffic. Should the source of the new security group be what? Default rule associated. You add a new. Okay, you add a rule. Prevents them. Should the source be? Service tag, because you have to identify the storage, but storage doesn't really have an IP address. I think. Yup. Good. You have the subscription, storage account for media files, asynchronously copied, minimize latency. Oh, geez. So this is, what's that service called? Object replication. Premium block blob. I need to remember what that's available on. Application. Um, I don't remember prerequisites. Blob versioning supported for premium blob. Object replication supports block blobs only. Append and page are not supported. So storage account, I think both of them can be this. Let me. Both the source and destination accounts must either be general purpose or block blob. General purpose, premium block blob. Good. An Azure subscription that contains a storage account named Nitto and a VM named TD1. Nitto must be able to communicate with TD1. So storage account to virtual network over the backbone network. Service endpoint. Firewall doesn't do that. Site to site is internet. VNet peering doesn't make sense for this application. Good. 5 more. I'm super curious to see how I did on this. I feel like I did really well, but there's also a chance I get the results that's like, oh, you got a 70%. Which, you know what, that's not horrible, but I feel like I've done better than 70%. All right, you're responsible for IT infrastructure. Recently, the company has faced issues with people forgetting their passwords. Oh, I know what the answer to this one is. Implement a solution allowing reset their passwords. Multiple identity verification methods. Self-service password reset. Yes. All right, 4 more. Almost done. Man, it's taken me forever to get through this one. I did a lot of yapping while I was answering questions. Manage an Azure subscription that includes several VMs interacting with a virtual network named that Azure Monitor for VM Insights. Through. Oh, Azure. Okay, so we're setting up Azure Monitor with VM Insights. You have to guarantee each VM only interacts with Azure Monitor through secure VNet. This, no. This, no. Oh. Data collection rule is required. I think it's the link. Three more. Team responsible for managing containerized applications and has chosen ACR to optimize the development workflow, integrated with CI/CD pipelines to securely access images as well as automatically rebuild whenever base images change. I think it's just tasks. This doesn't apply. Oh. This kind of applies because that locks down where images can come from. I don't think it's multi-step. I think it's task. Content trust doesn't address the rebuild rebuild part of that. It just addresses secure images. Oh, I was right. Nice. Why is this wrong? Okay, so it signs it to make sure it's not using a goofy image. Nice. Last two. Nice. Almost done. All right. You're responsible for overseeing a web application. Recently, there have been incidents where Azure services that the application relies on experience outages. And okay, so issues with the services themselves would be no and no. Yes. No. All right, last question. Hope it's a chill one. Your security analyst at your company and your team has recently implemented Sentinel. Integrate data sources into Sentinel for security monitoring. Linux-based system that generates syslog events. You need to configure this integration using a method that supports real-time log streaming. I do not know almost anything about Sentinel, I'll be honest. So we're going to rely on good old elimination. Sentinel REST, maybe? Event Hub. That seems kind of clunky, but maybe. Azure Functions, no. That's more than we need, like for a fact. Like Sentinel's got to integrate with something better than having Azure Functions. Oh, what's up, Andy? Oh yeah, dude, the associate certs are the Azure ones are insane, dude. Like, I didn't do any reading on like how hard these exams would be, and evidently they're just a mile wide and a mile deep. The SC that's the security one, right? Here, let me do this last question, and then I'm all done, and we can see how we did. Azure monitoring. This doesn't even talk about Sentinel, so no. Azure Event Hub. We have to go straight to Sentinel. So we're gonna, I bet there's an API for it. Oh, what a shame. All right. Okay, and just a reminder, one of the questions on here is broken. You can't see what you're answering. So I will be giving myself 1 point. Why was I wrong? Not designed for sending log events directly. Oh, okay. Oh, that's all right. Let's see how we did. Okay. Oh, dude, if I'm going to add 1 point for this broken question, and I said if I got an 85, I would schedule the exam. So let's see, we did 57 divided by 68. 83.8. That's pretty close to 85. Do I schedule it? Just stop sharing. I'll talk to chat for a bit now. All right. How's it going? Defender and Sentinel. That sounds like a tough exam, dude. I ain't gonna lie. It's good. Azure is really difficult. I think the thing that makes it harder to study than AWS, because I don't know, I feel like it's been harder, is Azure integrates with a lot of on-prem stuff, and there's a lot of Windows specific stuff. Like I got questions on like 365 user assignments. And like with AWS, you don't really get questions like that. It's all very central to AWS. You don't have to understand the whole Windows ecosystem. Whereas like with Azure, you kind of do. But let's see. I'm struggling with the practice exam for like 2 months, but as soon as I cross the 70% mark, oh really? Okay. I had one practice test that went really badly. I got a 63 on one of them. I did the Microsoft Learn one. And I think that was the first one I did, like right after all of my studies. So like we did like this textbook. I have like not hundreds, but over 100 pages of notes. It's on my other laptop, but I have like, I think it's 116 pages of notes for the AZ-104 right now. And like, I mean, anyone that's done certifications knows that half the battle is getting through the content and understanding the content, and then the other half of the battle is doing enough practice questions to understand like the little random nitty-gritty things that they're going to ask about. So 70% off the bat on the Microsoft one I don't think is bad. Tutorials Dojo, from what I hear, is a very good representation of the actual exam. Oh, good lord, that's unfortunate. It's like 20% of the strength of the real one. How does Tutorials Dojo compare? Because I got pretty much an 84 on this one. Like, what are the odds I'm ready to schedule it? I'm not going to schedule it for like next week, but I'd give myself like 4 or 5 weeks. I'm going to do Measure Up too. I heard Measure Up they have some good ones. So I'm going to go through all the Tutorials Dojo ones for sure, probably multiple times until they almost stop being effective because I start remembering questions, which isn't really what we want, but I don't know, remembering different kinds of questions doesn't hurt. It just means the practice tests get less and less representative of your overall skill set and more representative of you memorize the practice test. So we'll see. I don't know. I know this exam is gonna be so hard, dude. Like, and like I don't want to like do well on one practice test and go study it and then go bomb the exam and wonder what I'm doing with my life. Which again, like if I fail, it's not the end of the world, but I don't want to fail miserably. Like if I miss it by like 50 points, you know what? That's okay. Study some more, we're good. But I don't know how some people like take the exam first and then study. Because like if I go into an exam and I get like a 50% on it, I'm like, wow, I really had no idea what I was talking about. Where do I even start restudying stuff? Which is why I like to kind of go completely overboard for these certifications is, I don't know, I'd rather do it all on the front end and take the test once, but just good at explaining stuff I didn't get. Is that for Measure Up, or what do you mean? I've never even been on the Measure Up site. I should probably look at it. Measure Up. Measure Up's like a legit site, right? Like that's not like dumps, is it? Okay, yeah. I want to make sure like it's legit, just expensive. Okay, that's fine. I get pretty much all my stuff reimbursed through work, which is awesome. But I don't know, like I'm with all these like certifications, I don't want to like read good things about a practice test site, and then like what if it's like a dump site? Because I am like unbelievably against dumps. I think they're completely ridiculous and they defeat the entire point of studying for these certifications and getting the certification. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not running out of stuff to study. Another thing I'm doing, I'm kind of random train of thought. First off, I like live streams because I can just kind of talk about things generally, and I don't need to have such a strict format like videos. They do really poorly on my channel because this is like 2 hours of just me answering Azure practice questions. But I don't know. I like the format. And I was also going to say, I'm doing John S. I forgot his last name. I'm doing his exam cram thing. Like when I go to the gym, I'll hop on the treadmill for an hour and go through it. I don't know if you've watched his stuff, what you kind of have to say about that. It's hard for me to place. Like, he goes over all the information. I don't think it stands by itself, especially just like if you just watch the exam cram video and try to take the test, I think you're still cooked. But I don't know. I like the little whiteboard demonstrations. And that's I don't know. I like the format of his stuff. I like being able to watch someone else do configurations too. Because one thing I found with all the Azure studies so far is there's just not a ton of like hands-on stuff. Like, I feel like there's a lot of theory that people go over in courses, but I just don't see a lot of like live configuration. It's like, yeah, I could go do the configuration on my own, but I don't know, walking on the treadmill, watching someone else do it's kind of nice. John Seville is the whiteboard guy. Yeah. Oh, really? Huh. I mean, I believe it, dude. Like, I was like, the AZ-104 video he did, it's like 4 hours. I think like 2/3 of the way through it. I don't know if he's doing it in one take, but he's doing it in like a single day. And he just goes from topic to topic to topic and is just able to like transition like that. And I find it wildly impressive because I'm like, I talk a lot. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I like to talk about tech stuff and XYZ. But if you ask me to do a 4-hour presentation on everything I've learned from the AZ-104, it would kind of be a disaster. Like, I would know a lot of stuff, but I wouldn't have flow. And it wouldn't make sense when you watched it. Because it's like, why did we just go from storage accounts to network security groups? Why are we talking about Azure Functions? Oh, we got distracted talking about Azure Functions and went over all the platform as a service compute options. But no, I have huge respect for the work he does. Like, that's crazy. I mean, to sound like so competent and have such like good pacing and flow through these topics, just off the top of the dome, is crazy. But I don't know. I think do I schedule this exam for 5 weeks out? 85 on a Tutorials Dojo test is pretty good. But again, everything I read makes me feel like I'm nowhere near ready to schedule it, you know? I don't know. I feel like 6 weeks might be enough. You sure that 85 is decent? Because in 6 weeks, I can do a lot of practice questions. And that's all I do. Like, I format my studies like, I'll go through, if this thing has battery, I'll, switch got knocked over. We'll see. I'm going to see if I can, I won't like share the screen of this laptop, but I'll pull open my notes and show you. I'll go through and do so much studying that's not practice-based. Video courses and textbooks and notes and all this stuff. And then I just end it with practice tests. Like, I don't know, I'm not one to like watch a full course right before I test. I find it more beneficial to go for practice questions. But here, check these out. I'm actually, Andy, you're going to be the only one to see these before they get released. I wanted to have something to publish this year. Or for this certification, because I don't know. I've never like had crazy comprehensive notes, but on this one, I really tried to have as comprehensive as notes that were as comprehensive as possible. And so I ended up with this document. We'll see. So I don't know how well you can see this, but I have these notes. It's currently 31,000 words. And 116 pages. So, like, I spent like a couple months putting this together. It's insane. This document's 16 gigs. I think it's the largest file on this laptop. But yeah, so I still have to go through and like do a rough check for typos before I post it. But I'm so excited to share those notes because like they're not. I would not hand someone those notes and say, "Oh, just read these and you'll pass the exam," because it's like it's a hard exam. There's so many little bits and pieces that my notes do cover a lot of it. Like I wrote them as if I was talking to someone that had never logged into the Azure portal. I have like how-to docs in there. But again, it's like I don't want to like promise something because I don't know if it's missing something, you know. But I'll post them out there and be like, hey, I think this covers a lot of what's on the exam, and then another section I have in there that I'm like the last part of this this notes packet is just notes on practice tests. So like if I get a question wrong, I'll look at why it was wrong and just put down like a bullet point, like, hey, here's a random fact that I got wrong from these practice tests. But yeah, I'm super excited to share those. That'll be really cool. But again, like there's probably so many typos and little issues. Like what I decided, like if you look at my AZ-104 or AZ-900 notes I posted a while back, there's a lot of consistency issues. Like I'll capitalize the names of some services, but not the others. Whereas on this one, I said I am not capitalizing any service. I am only capitalizing Azure. Like, because again, I was like, if I start capitalizing service names, I'm going to have inconsistencies everywhere. I have a friend that did something like that for the AZ-900, got a lot of traction. Oh, really? Cool. I'll have to find a place to post it or something. I don't have like a website or anything. It's just this channel. I guess my LinkedIn. I'm kind of active on LinkedIn. But I don't know, I feel like I should make a central website or something. My mom actually is doing like computer science stuff. And she's doing like CSS and Java and all that. So maybe I'll have her teach me how to kind of code my own website, and I can stand it up on like a T2 micro instance on AWS and just call her a day. We'll see. I don't know. I have this crazy architecture. I don't know. Andy, you've probably seen this diagram before, but I'm gonna share it anyway. I was so irritated. Hopefully I remember my sign in to Lucid Chart. Please be correct. It is. Yeah, my AWS architecture is broken right now. And I'm not a fan of it. I'll show you what's wrong and why I didn't fix it. I opened this up a couple days ago, and I just didn't fix it because I was like, this is a lot. All right, let's check this out. I'm gonna share. So this is my. I'm bringing this into my other screen so I can see it. So this is my AWS architecture, right? Kind of front end home sites, and we also have some like our back end sites that are like protected, right? And so the first thing that was broken on this, I love this project, but maintaining it can be a little bit of a dog. So for my load balancers to use TLS, so I can have those lovely HTTPS sites instead of HTTP, I need the TLS certificates, right? Mine are managed through ACM and AWS. Those expired, and all this is built with Terraform too. Like I have like thousands of lines of Terraform that set up everything in this orange box. So I fixed my ACM certs. I just regenerated them, added them back into Terraform. It was all good. But these, dude, oh my gosh. All of these websites, right, have certbot certs. I don't think they're self-signed, but my certs are managed through certbot, and they expire every 30 days. Nah, 90 days? I think 90 days. Those expired, right? The way certbot renews its certs is by talking to your application, right? That's like the auto renew feature. I was like, okay, I can just go in, renew my certs, whatever, that's fine. Should be easy. The issue with the auto renew system is these servers have virtual hosts, right? Just one 443 virtual host as a listener. It needs to be port 80, so I logged into these, and I was like, okay, they're port 80, certbot, go talk to the server and give me a new one. This ruins that. And this is a huge problem because when certbot tries to talk to my servers, because there's a file in Apache that it looks for, I have my virtual host set up to always, no matter where you go on the site, you have to go through Microsoft Auth, which is set up here. You're always redirected from the load balancer to Microsoft Auth before you can go to anything. So certbot reaches out and says, hey, I need to renew my cert. And it gets stuck in the auth loop because the request is like, hey, you are not authenticated. You can't be here. So I was like, okay, I'll go generate a new one. That doesn't work either because the same problem. You have to have a listener on port 80. That's fine. That's easy to set up. And it always gets trapped by Microsoft Auth. So if I wanted to get these working, I would have to shut off Microsoft Auth and like completely remove it from the flow. And then I think it could do it, which is a pain because then I have to mess with all this. I have to break all of this so nothing redirects anymore. And this took me weeks to get working. Just this little authentication piece took so long to get working that I don't really want to touch it. And it's like, it would take me probably maybe not 2 days, maybe like a full day of messing around with it just for them to expire in another 90 days. And I'm like, yikes. I guess I could associate a public address to it. That might work. I don't know. Which purple thing are you talking about? Is your Terraform on GitHub? It is not. I don't know why I never published it. I guess I could. It's really ugly. I might have samples of it here. We'll see what this is. This probably isn't up to date, but this is. I bet this is parts of it. Yeah, this is like a handful of stuff in the Terraform. Oh, don't do that. But yeah, just tons and tons of stuff. Purple person for the EC2. Those were. Well, these just represent my auth. So when you hit the load balancer, and you try to talk to this, it will redirect you to authentication, and then you're forced to go up here and go through like the little authentication loop. Make sure you're a valid user in the Entra ID. I don't know why that says Active Directory, but I can change it later. Then it reroutes back to the same server that you were requesting on. Because another thing is session persistence killed me for a while, because when you hit this load balancer, your connection is specific to one of these. Like the load balancer already picks out where it's going, and then you get redirected. And then when you get redirected back from the authentication page, you don't actually continue from right here, right? Your request actually goes back to the load balancer. And if that load balancer sends you to, say your first request went to like server A, we'll call it, and you authenticate the server A, and after authentication, you get rerouted to server B, that's not a valid authenticated request anymore. And so you get stuck in this loop of not being authenticated and always having to redo Microsoft Auth. So to fix it, I have like session persistence, probably based on, I think it's based on IP address, and it's like 30 seconds or 2 minutes or something. So after your first request, if you hit this load balancer again, you'll always be rerouted to the same server, so you don't run into those issues. And then we also have like some random KDS stuff here. I do have a GitHub for containers. But yeah, it's quite the project. I wish I got it working again. But again, it's like this is my favorite thing. Like this project is probably the only reason I have the job I do now. And I'm not gonna remove it or anything like that, but like if someone, I don't know, if someone wanted to see my technical ability in a project, I'd talk them through this whole thing and just explain what's broken. But maybe one day I'll do a live stream where I fix it, but I do not feel like doing that right now. But yeah, that's that. That was what a lovely little tangent. I don't know, I might end it off here shortly. I've been talking for like 2 hours. All right, take it easy. Thank you all for watching. I'll probably leave this up on my channel, and not like the highest quality live stream I've produced, but just kind of a chill study session. But as always, thanks for stopping by. I will catch you later.